we want also to draw attention to what is happening with the school calendar and the way it's being politicized right now. If you look today on the front page of the Star, I should say, this is what you will find. Of course, it's all about the delays of exam. It says if you have to, it says delay exams if you have to. Raila tells IBC PM wants poll given priority over school exams. Says children won't die if exams are postponed. And we have reactions also from some of our viewers as well here on social media in regard to some of the topics that we're talking this morning. We have John Gidanga saying that it is depressing that people in this country tend to glorify errant and corruption barons instead of men and women of integrity. We have also Wilson Balongo saying our kids should do exams without interference, period. Also, we have Kip Kogei Oscar Kongi saying, you forget that schools torment students mentally. I'm a victim of that at some point. Watching from Keses, thank you as well. And also we have Stephen saying it is a sad day that you disdain, or our disdain for human life has reached this low to ban innocent kids. We need better fire management in schools. Also we have Francis saying we are caring for their future. We don't want to affect them. The date of elections can't be changed because of one person. Also Wilson Bolongo says that my daughter knew her KCP will start on the 31st of October 2017, even before the general elections. So what really has changed? And we have also well-run, Gravin Singh's well-run institutions takes into account the environment they operate in and the views of stakeholders, more so public participation. Let's just begin with this particular headline story on the Star. Of course, he's not rowing back. He's saying, yes, we don't really care a fig about the exams, right?
Well, well, I don't want to sound like, against any, political actors and so on. But I think the children have a constitutional right that it was scheduled like that. And if there's anything that can be done to make sure that it is just done right, and at the same time the elections take place as per the court ruling, it is a good thing, because it's not good to disrupt them. I know how it feels, when the children are told now you will not do your exam next. They really feel, and the parents also. There are a lot of costs associated with it and all that, and really. That should be considered so that it can be done right. And I don't see any harm of because the court has ruled we have to do the elections. They can be done as the IEBC has been told by the court to do that. So if they have announced it that way, and also taking into consideration some of these things, really I think our leaders should all agree and follow what our institutions put before them. It's a bit of a dicey topic. I know people, would feel like, I don't like sounding like I'm campaigning for anyone.
But it brings to the fore also the question of how prepared were the parties really coming to, the elections? Because if you're really coming to, this particular election, you also have the likely scenario that you'll have a runoff, right? And given there will be a runoff, then you have to be prepared for that as well. So when we talk about consultation, and also we know this will have changed, I don't know, will have changed also somewhat the school calendar as well.
But I think the key point here is that the scheduling for national examinations is something that was done much earlier. And the dates were fixed. The children know that they're going to do the exams at a certain point, and those dates should remain. We should not disrupt so many children from doing their examinations because of an election date. The second point here is, and you've alluded to that, is that politicians should be prepared that they can go to an election anytime, and IEBC or wherever body that is going to, organizes elections should be able to do that, and within 10 days actually print wherever ballots, and this time it's only going to be one, and actually conduct an election. In other countries, an election date can be set even within 2 weeks and is going to be done well. With this particular situation, there are issues with the electoral board, and those are issues that they have to resolve and not interfere with the schooling calendar. And it's something that can be done within actually a month, that the two of the presidential contenders go to the polls and we have an election, and I hope that this time the votes are counted and transmitted properly and we conclude this election. We should not let it go beyond even that October 17th. I think it's too far. We should have done it earlier, and we have a president sworn in, and then children go and do the exam. Their dates should not be interfered with by these political processes.
All right. Dr. Kisaka.
Well, Debarl, I find it difficult many times to comment on the Constitution, because all of you know that I campaigned so strongly that this Constitution was extremely reactionary and unrealistic in its expectations.
During the Ufangamano Forum?
Yes. Yes. I mean, why do you put an election in August when you know that third term is going to be exams for the children? The exams, the election was always in December. We never had a problem with the postponement of elections in all the 40 years we held elections in this country. But there was some mentality in our approach that was so reactionary and unwilling to reason. When you say a presidential petition must be determined within 7 days, you're trying to solve one problem, but you are putting other human beings in a major problem. When you say that the rerun must be held within 60 days, you are creating a problem. So one thing is that perhaps the next parliament should actually think very critically, together with all stakeholders, about the things in this constitution that are dysfunctional, and actually try to correct them going forward. We can't do things the same way we have always done them, expecting different results. There must be a change. But the second thing is that our leaders have been fairly reckless in their comments post Maraga decision. They have been very reckless on both sides. Why would you go to the public and declare something which might not work? Because you are creating a stalemate. I would say, for example, in this particular one, why does Matiang'i have to go to the public to say we have told IEBC that you need to fix this before? Why does he need to? It is charged. Why doesn't he call him privately in his office and say, look, these are the issues. Can you see how you are going to organize? So that nobody knows. Because there will be an association between him as a Jubilee appointed cabinet secretary and the decision of the IEBC. The IEBC is obviously seeking to be as objective as possible, but because there's a Matiang'i factor, now somebody else is reacting excessively. So I'm just suggesting that there has been very reckless comments. On the one hand, you praise the court for a ruling that has favored you. On the other hand, you undermine its ruling that it's very clear IEBC manages the election. On the one hand, you declare to the people and say, we are waiting, the outcome is going to be okay. On the other hand, you say, our Akora. You know, these are reckless comments that this country should avoid. All our leaders are extremely respected people by constituencies in this country. Let them know that everything you say is so critical, so measure it. Avoid saying things which are going to throw the country in a panic situation. So that would be my take on this matter.
So I think also you raise a very important point, because when we have timelines that are really cutting it too close, we have the 14-day window period on when to hear, of course, you know, the petitions and the hearings in the court. We have a 60-day rule, 60 days that now you should hold these particular elections. I think the time constraints also are suffocating, and he's putting everyone in this country, or the entire country, in a tense mood, right? This was raised even with the 2013, of course, presidential petition that was forwarded by the Right Honourable Raila Odinga. And we still went to Parliament, and that issue of a 14-day window period was raised. Nothing was done. What should be the approach? Because it seems we don't really have enough room to swing a cut, right? We're cutting it close, and when it does, it affects other timeless as well when it comes also to the school calendar that we're talking about.
Yeah, if you ask me, Debarl, it is the same reasoning in the construction of substandard dorms. You know, it's the same reasoning. You are trying to do something which is practically challenged. If you want to do a proper election, construct the process properly so that everybody knows that justice has been done, and we have gone through the process. So my submission is that going forward, Parliament must sit down with all the stakeholders and actually try to reorganize this system. I don't think that if you're going to have exams in December and our children are so critically important, I would advise the Right Honorable not to come across to Kenyans as if the children don't matter. It's not fair. I don't think that's what he meant. So
let me make an adage very quickly, because you cut me short last time. You talked about Gambia. I mean, they had these marbles, you know. We can do it very simple and run it. And I don't think elections are more important than these children. These children, 6 children have just burnt in, been hurt. Yeah, let's give them their way. I mean, we can't all have politics the whole time around here. Let's have the children do their exams, and because we will be interfering with them, we have time before then. It can be done. I think it is a fair judgment to say that. But again, if you ask me, if I was to be asked again, Professor, I don't know what you take this whole thing of transmission. I wish that part was out and people just go and say, this is it, you know. Okay, 1, 2. Can you see there are 2, 1, 2? Yeah, how many people have seen it is true? So, you know, then they say, fine. And, you know, the media will be there, isn't it? Just there. This thing of this transmission thing, the Supreme Court should have said it out, everything out. Just go and count there, you know, and everyone is watching. That would have been easy, because we don't want people to hide behind those things and make claims, because it's very hard to prove some of those things. So for me, if we can do the elections, it can be peaceful.
Thank you.
And also we must commend our head of state and so on, because it is not easy in these parts for people to someone to agree and say we will go back. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah. All right, let's hear from Professor Noah Midamba as we wind up on this.
Debarl, 2 weeks ago I spoke to senior members of the DOD, and also the same week I talked to CEO of our insurance company. And I talk about the term called externalities. Externalities are imagery. They can be positive or negative.
Yes.
And in terms of negative, we are known as corrupt country, extrajudicial killing, ethics, strife, and all that kind of thing. And in terms of positive, we are known as long-distance runner, the best, largest economy in East Africa. And we have added another thing which we need to be very proud of, is that our country is the first in the continent of Africa to reverse the president election through court system. This has never been done, and Kenya is now put forward in the middle of in terms of democracy. So the most important thing is we want this election to happen soon and soon. It must be free, it must be fair, it must be credible.
Thank you.
So that we can move to the next
All
step.
right, we have 2 minutes to go, but I want to also to draw your attention here on, this was actually on Monday. We know what really happened with our police officers, where cholera fears as 59 police officers taken ill. And this is a big security threat, I should say. And we had also Nairobi County Executive for Health, Bernard Muia, saying they're recuperating well. I have visited those at Sinai Hospital and the Nairobi Women's Hospital. But a total of 59 police officers, given that the ratio that we know we have of 1 police officer to around 400 Kenyans as well. 59 is a big number. And when we have this cholera outbreak, I really think it really begs the question, what are we doing about this particular outbreak? It's been in hotels, some of the dignitaries, even cabinet secretaries have been affected by this. Now it's police officers. If it pervades within now that particular sector, we're in a dire situation. Very briefly, just one line as we've heard from you, let's just hear from Dr. Mustafa briefly.
You know, Debarl, my mother used to taught me that I should always wash my hands before eating. And the cholera is a disease that should not be happening today. It's people very basic due regard to healthy.
You might really wash your hands, but of course,
yeah, but you know, it's everybody. Well, it's including those people who cook. They don't wash their hands. They just go in and cook. Maybe they've woken up from a slum area. There is no water. There is no running water and everything. And therefore, I talked about shared security. Your vulnerability is my insecurity. That person who's living in Kibera, in poverty, and we employ that person, paying that person 5,000 shillings to go and cook for other people, going with cholera and affecting that cabinet secretary. That's exactly what we are talking about. We do not care about those people, and it's because we don't care about society. That's why we're having cholera. And this is going to continue until and unless we care about
Dr. Kisaka,
slums.
Briefly.
Yeah, I think the doctor in charge, the doctors in charge, as well as the security networks that are associated with this, should tell us more than I just visited police in the hospitals. Okay. Yes. This thing has been here for the past almost 1 year. It's been both in high-class hotels and in low-class places. Somebody is sleeping on the job. Right. And I should tell you, I visited them. This guy should be telling us something much more.
Much more, yeah. Because they've come to the fore even denying there was an outbreak. It took the shoehorning of the media for them to really accept there is a cholera outbreak in Nairobi. Yeah. Very briefly.
The City Council of Nairobi used to have the Department of Health that examine every standard of hotels, the food prepared, and how it is done. This cholera should not happen at this time in our society.
Right. Yeah. If it happens in the barracks, we shout out to think.
Yeah, I know.
Very briefly.
I know. It is important when some of these things happen, especially to security personnel. It's a threat. That is for sure. But what is important is how to approach, and it's a multifaceted thing. Like you're saying, service providers. Most likely, these officers were somewhere where they were served. I heard it was somewhere at Multimedia University where they were housed, and most likely someone brought in food there or some water and it was contaminated. And what I don't want is someone to run and say the government is the police is dysfunctional, there's a problem, everything is down because some people took bad water. So we need to all of us work together.
Thank you.
Wash our hands and make sure the authorities protect the people.
Fantastic.
Yeah, food vendors must take the anti-cholera vaccine, and they must clean their hands each time, and they should be inspected.
I think we should elect Dr. Mumo Nzau as
City Council Head of Health.
Head of Health.